Hey everybody, I'm Elyse Sparks from Sparks Wellness, where we talk about getting moving in body, business, and life. And today we're speaking with Joanie Johnson in her FPC fitness studio. She's the co-founder of Fit Pregnancy Club. She's a pre-postnatal corrective exercise specialist and diastasis
and core
consultant.
So close. That was good.
Yes. It's a lot. It's a lot of specialty.
It is.
But that is perfect because it brings us to exactly why I wanted to bring her on for today and talk about this mysterious pelvic floor thing that I feel like we hear get thrown around a lot. Kind of sounds important, like you should do your kegels, but like what does that mean? What are they?
Yeah.
So let's just get right into it. What is the pelvic floor?
Okay, so your pelvic floor is a complex grid of muscles. They run front to back and side to side. So if you think of almost the leaves of a basket, and you have 4 bony insertion points. So you can think of your pubic bone at the front, tailbone at the back, and then those 2 sitting bones that you can feel underneath you when you sit. So those are the 4 bony points that the pelvic floor muscles insert into. And they're actually layered in 3 different layers. Another thing that we don't realize. So just think of this as a basket of muscles at the bottom of your body. And then think of all of the organs down here that those muscles are supporting. So we want to make sure that we're strengthening the pelvic floor in a way that is supporting those muscles, one, so they are not falling out of our body, which is called pelvic organ prolapse. It's not pretty, but no, we're not there.
But I actually have worked with some clients who have had prolapses. So,
yes. Yeah.
So
yeah.
It is a thing that does happen.
It is a thing. It does happen. And it does happen in pregnancy too because of the extra weight of the baby and the uterus. So it's a lot of extra weight down on that pelvic floor. And what people don't realize is that their pelvic floor is actually BFFs with their diaphragm. And your diaphragm and pelvic floor are part of your core. So we refer to the inner core unit a lot here at FPC, and we're talking about the multifidus muscles at the back, so those muscles that run down either side of your spine, your transverse abdominis, which is that corset-like horizontal muscle that wraps around this way, and then the other 2 parts of that are your diaphragm and your pelvic floor. So that's really your entire inner core unit. And what we do here, we call pump and kegel. We're turning on that entire core unit with the breath, and we're learning how to we're just bringing a hyper awareness into how the body functions naturally, because a lot of us are dysfunctional movers and breathers.
So I've been thinking about this a lot more since I've been pregnant, because I've been coming to FPC and taking classes with Joanie and practicing that pump and kegel. So obviously, for the reasons that you mentioned, it's super important in pregnancy. But I know that this isn't just about pregnant women. Like, who else needs to know about this?
Everybody, men included.
Why?
Because
same reason,
yeah. Same reason. And to go back to that thought of your diaphragm and your pelvic floor being connected, they're actually connected via a tendon that runs down the back of your spine. And in a fully functioning body, and when we're breathing functional as we are born to breathe, not as we've trained ourselves. As you inhale, that diaphragm descends down into the abdominal cavity, and that muscle is creating space to put more air into your lungs. So it's pushing down, but what we don't realize is that as it's pushing down, your pelvic floor is naturally relaxing with it because those 2 are connected. And then as that diaphragm goes back up, those muscles turn off, the contraction turns off. It travels back up to its original positioning, and it pulls the pelvic floor up with it. So when we breathe in and out in this diaphragmatic breath throughout the day, our pelvic floor and diaphragm naturally does this. And this creates a little bit of a massage for your internal organs. It helps neutralize intra-abdominal pressure. So also that's important during pregnancy because we don't want a lot of outward pressure on an already strained abdominal wall.
Feels strained.
Exactly, yeah. And the other thing that it does, it increases lymph flow, and it helps you tune into what's called your parasympathetic nervous system. Trying not to get too geeky on you here, but it turns on the opposite of fight or flight mode. So fight or flight mode is breath up here when we're being chased by tigers. This is a calming breath. This is a breath that helps turn off the sweat glands. It eliminates that adrenaline and cortisol to our brains, and it's a much calmer breath for our body.
Which is great for everybody as well.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, so let's get into that, how you do it. And Joanie's going to talk us through exactly how to do everything that she just talked about. So we would like to encourage you to do this with us while you're watching the video. And you can be anywhere doing this. You can do this in your office.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't really look like that much,
You can
right?
do it in the grocery store line.
Okay, so you can be sitting, standing, anywhere.
Yeah.
So do this with us right now.
Okay. So one more note on that.
Oh yeah.
Don't be overwhelmed by this. This is a different way of moving and breathing than what a lot of us are used to. So just don't be overwhelmed by it. Okay. So we're going to start with that diaphragmatic breath. So if you imagine your diaphragm, it's a muscle that separates your heart and lungs from all the organs down below. As you breathe in, you can bring both hands to your belly. And I want you to try to breathe in a way that does not allow your upper chest to rise and fall. So you take nice deep breaths in, and you just feel that gentle rise and fall in the belly. Now, when you're sleeping, we automatically go into this breath. You don't look at someone sleeping like this unless they're having a nightmare or they're a sleepwalker or something. Also, children will breathe this way up until about the age of 6 or 7, and then body awareness kicks in and we start to hug in and suck and rip things. So this belly breath is where we want to live in a majority of our day. Good, so you can see, especially on Elyse's belly here, that just gentle rise and fall. So no muscle activation yet.
Oh, yeah. I was doing that a little bit.
Just cheating a little. Yeah, so you just want to feel that natural rise and fall. This is your diaphragmatic breath. This is step 1. Step 2 is to think of your transverse abdominis. So thinking of those multifidus muscles I was talking about, mid-center of your back, they're going to fire. And then you're going to engage your transverse abdominis. So that muscle wraps underneath your obliques, underneath your 6-pack. And it's not a cue. A lot of people will say navel to spine. That's not big enough. You want to go pubic bone to bottom of the rib cage. That entire abdominal wall is wrapping and pulling the abdominal wall close to you. At least turn sideways so you can really see this. The baby.
Like this?
Yeah, sure. So on the inhale. On the inhale, you're not pushing out, you're just relaxing these muscles.
Okay. Oh, gosh. It is a little overwhelming. It's like harder than...
It's hard to breathe functionally.
And I am totally guilty of saying navel to spine to cue people.
Yeah, so if you, just quick note on that cue, when you cue navel to spine, if you think of squeezing the center of a balloon, and if you would just squeeze the middle, it puts pressure at the top and pressure at the bottom. And what we're trying to do is eliminate that intra-abdominal pressure, especially during pregnancy. So you want to think of that entire abdominal wall. That's it. Good. Inhale, you relax the core. Exhale, watch this belly pump. 2 months less pregnant right there. And this doesn't hurt the baby at all. And it doesn't bring any harm to you. What you're doing is turning on that transverse abdominis that supports a safer pregnancy, because you're bringing more support to your spine, more support to all of your movements, and you're eliminating that intra-abdominal pressure that occurs as the bellies grow. So this is called a belly pump. And you don't have to be pregnant to do it. I'm 19 months postpartum, and you can just think of those muscles relaxing on the inhale, and then on the exhale, everything's wrapping and engaging. So don't think that this is just a thing for pregnant women. This is a concept for everyone. Step 3 is to involve that pelvic floor. So that grid of muscles, pubic bone to tailbone, you want to think of drawing those 2 points together and then up through the center of your body without clenching your glutes. So try to keep your glutes relaxed here. Kegels tend to be something that are very foreign to a lot of people. If you're having a hard time feeling your pelvic floor, if you have one of those big exercise balls, it's nice to sit on them and just kind of do some circles to give yourself some feedback. Or even on a soft couch, if you position yourself in a way where you are kind of tilting forward and you can feel the feedback underneath you. when those pelvic floor muscles are strong enough, you can actually see them rise. Wow, which we don't realize. So that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to lift those pelvic floor muscles up and off of the surface that we're sitting on without squeezing the rest of the body. And you can think of this in 3 sections. You can think of the muscles that would stop the flow of urine as the front. The muscles in the middle, this isn't really relevant for men, but for women, if you think of the muscles that would draw up a tampon. And then the muscles at the back, if you are thinking of standing in an elevator with your boss and you're trying not to pass gas, those are the muscles that you're going to turn on. That's the back of your pelvic floor.
Let's be honest.
So you want to get all 3 of those sections lifting up with an equal amount of strength. And then as you inhale and you relax the core, they release with an equal amount of relaxation. So everything turns off on that inhale. You just fill with air. And then on that exhale, that pelvic floor lifts and that belly pump wraps and hugs the abdominal wall close to you. You can also think of this as a box. Your diaphragm's the lid, your pelvic floor is the bottom, and then the TVA, that transverse abdominis that we're pumping, is the outside of the box. So on the inhale, it fills with air, it relaxes. And then on the exhale, that box is just going to shrink down to half its size. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Now I got a question when I was letting my readers know that we were going to do an interview. I got a question about how effective this is for abdominal strengthening in general. I think the question was about. Yeah. And if you have something to say that, but I will just say that after doing this for just a couple minutes that we've been doing it,
You feel your core.
I feel like I've been, well, now I can't do it because I'm talking, but previously I was feeling like I had been doing crunches or
yes.
Maybe not crunches, but like something like abdominal strengthening.
I refer to this as the pregnancy crunch because this is the way you can safely train your abdominals during pregnancy. And what this will do, it does not mean that your baby is going to be smaller, but if you can produce a certain amount of tension through that wrapping muscle, through that TVA, you'll carry a smaller belly. And you're just carrying a smaller belly because you're not allowing those muscles to kind of splay open and out into the front, which eliminates this back pain that happens on a lot of women. So when those muscles are wrapped and engaged, and your pelvis is in neutral and lifting and rising, it puts everything into alignment and functioning fully to eliminate a lot of that lower back pain and sciatica type symptoms, SI joint issues, or any of there's like the 90% of the pregnancy problems that can crop up, this pump and cable breath will solve it.
It's amazing. Yeah. Okay, so that was a lot of really, really technical, scientific information, but now you have this information so you can keep on practicing it, and it's something that's pretty accessible to practice throughout your day, so that's great. Okay, so we want to hear from you now. What did you find was tricky or maybe simple, but like a light bulb moment about this exercise? Comment below and let us know. And also let us know if you were able to feel your pelvic floor. Could you feel it? Whether you could or whether you couldn't, come into FPC to take a class. If you are pregnant or if you are in postpartum, they have therapeutic. That's not what I meant to say. Yeah, postpartum therapy classes.
We do. We have a class that when you hit that 6-week mark, we call rehab. So it's based on PT exercises just to get back to this connection to the core. And then we're about to release a second class after that, which is low impact, but it's kind of teaching your body how to move in the fitness world again. So it's that transition back into all those classes that you loved before pregnancy.
Integrating it back in. That's excellent. So I will put all that info below so you can check it out and leave us a comment to let us know how this went for you. And we'll see you next time.
Bye.